Love of the Invisibles, How Ash Found Violet. 30. Copyrighted 2015 by Nazeli Zelian. They had the wedding 3 months later in the Fresno Ranch on a bright sunny day. The bride was wearing a white strapless gown with her golden hair playing in the soft breeze like rays of sun. The groom had a dark suit and white shirt. His love-struck eyes were shining like a pair of stars. The whole family was there, including Amber's mother and Uncle Harry and his wife and their 2 sons. It turned out that Uncle Harry's wife was not an invisible. Uncle Harry had met her while working with city people government in France. They fell in love, and that was all that mattered. His parents and his younger brother were not thrilled, traditional refs as they were, but Violet's father approved it and was his best man. Uncle Harry's wife was a cheerful lady who liked to drink and have a good time. Violet befriended her easily since she lived most of her life with city people, and plus, invisibles were not so different anyway. Her eye color was going back to dark violet, but she didn't need to hide them from Charlotte, her newfound aunt, because she was one of them. Her older cousins were sweet too. Violet was thrilled. Her family was growing. They had wedding arrangements outside with flower vines decorating the shade tents that were open on their side for the view, and yet they provided shade for the guests. There were numerous lights and lanterns ready to brighten up the ranch for the evening. Violet and Ash had arranged for decorations and most of the wedding preparations. The catering, though, had to go through Amber and Mel's approval. While arranging all with Ash, Violet somehow felt this to be her wedding too. It was fun to plan it, but she was not upset or envious that her wedding was so small with only 2 city people witnesses. Although she had the intimate wedding, it was an adventure. Everything was going smoothly for this wedding. The newlyweds could not take their eyes off of each other as they danced all day. Violet just had one tango with her husband since her feet felt tired lately and her back was hurting most of the time. She needed a pain fix booster from Ash, but he was so excited for his brother and was having such a great time that he forgot to heal her for that day. Well, it wasn't that bad, Violet thought. Soon it would be evening and things will mellow down and I would ask him to give me some of his healing energy. Are you all right, little sister? Nori came with 2 glasses of wine. Can you have a sip, or Ash the healer forbade you to have wine? I can have some, she said, taking the glass. Are you warm? You look flushed, he said, looking gently at her. I have that back pain again, she said, adjusting her body on her seat. Norik looked around to locate Ash. He was jumping up and down with the beat of the music with his brothers and new sister-in-law. Give me your hand. Norik took her hand and concentrated. Your pulse is fast, he said. What else are you feeling? I feel restless and breathless 1 minute and then it goes away like nothing had happened, she told her brother. How often does this happen? Norik asked quietly. At that moment Ash swung by. How are you doing, honey? He asked and disappeared in the dance crowd again without hearing the answer. Every hour or so, Violet answered her brother. You are in labor, he said, getting up to alert Ash. Please don't, Violet said. I don't want to spoil the wedding. He stopped, but got up and stretched his hand to her. We need to go inside. You need to lie down, he said, as Violet got up with one hand holding her brother's and the other on her back. We have some time, but with labor, one does not know what to predict. Violet tried to walk to the house as straight as she can. What's this? Aunt Hermina appeared in front of them. Aunt Hermina? Violet said with an aching voice. Go find Mel. She took the situation into her own hands. No, wait. She changed her mind. Stay with your sister. I will message my brother and he will get Mel. In minutes, Mel and Setrak were in the house. Let me see. Mel scanned Violet. They are in the move. How do you feel? At this moment, I feel fine, besides my backache, Violet said, as she sat on the living room sofa. I get uncomfortable once in a while. Ash barged into the room. Where is she? He came close and knelt in front of her. Honey, don't worry. Everything will be all right. I'm fine, Ash. I feel fine. Violet tried to calm him. Mom? Ash asked. I've already called Dr. Grant. He is ready to receive us if you still want Violet to deliver in the hospital. Yes, that would be better, he said, looking at Norik, who nodded. Let's go then, Aunt Hermina said. Don't tell me all of you are coming, Ash said. Who is going to tend to the guests? I will stay, Setrak said. With my sister, he added. No, are you crazy? I would not miss it. So they went, Ash and Norik, Mel and Aunt Hermina, escorting Violet to the hospital. Luckily, they were not missed. Setrak had told her sons and the new daughter-in-law that Violet was tired and the others were keeping her company and making her comfortable. When they arrived at the private hospital for invisibles in the area, Dr. Grant was ready with his medical personnel to receive her. Violet was taken in with her husband as her escort settled on the waiting room couches. They're getting her ready, Mel said, as she was in constant communication with her son. She's not feeling that much pain, just breathless, Norik added to the information as he kept talking telepathically with his sister. It took some time for Violet to be ready to deliver. She was doing well, and the report was coming to the family that she would deliver naturally. Mel was impatient. I need to go in, she announced and walked towards one of the nurses. They did let her in, and when she was prepared and walked through the doors of the delivery room, she couldn't believe her eyes. Besides the doctor, who was concentrating on his work, undisturbed of what else was going on, the nurses had their jaws dropped as they watched Violet's entire body surrounded with a bright blue-violet hue of bioluminescence. She was faintly panting, but did not show the signs of enormous pain that was expected from someone who was having twins without an epidural injection. Her eyes were semi-closed, as if she was in a semi-conscious trance, only listening to the doctor's instructions. They didn't even need to numb her, Ash whispered to his mother as he was holding her hand. She does it all by herself. What is this, those rays around her? Mel asked, astonished. Bioluminescence, Ash answered. Remember I told you about her ordeal at the mountain at Karahunj? She had those colors then, too. I think she still possesses that energy that she extracted from the Earth's core. I think she had learned how to regenerate it, and now she's subconsciously using it for her own benefit. Their conversation was interrupted with a loud cry of a newborn child. Oh my God! Mel exclaimed, clapping her hands together. Ash, it's a girl. It's a beautiful girl. Ash looked at the little bundle, and tears ran along his eyes. He got a big lump in his throat and was unable to speak. Another cry accompanied the cry of the firstborn. Another one, said Dr. Grant. A boy, he announced. Ash had never known such happiness. His heart was leaping from joy. What a blessing! He was a father, he told himself. He was a father. Congratulations! Amazing delivery, the doctor shook Ash's hand. That was free, but Ash was in clouds. It was an unknown feeling to him. Such kind of joy was almost unbearable. He smiled through his tears as he managed to say, Thanks, Doc. Then he turned to Violet and saw that she was back to her old self, shining bright with her amazing amethyst eyes as the nurses put the two little crying bundles on her chest, and both of them instantly stopped crying. They recognize you, Mel said softly. Violet kissed their heads with teary eyes. I can't describe what I feel, she messaged her husband. This is incredible. Ash bent and kissed each member of his family, his wife, his daughter, and his son. Mel did the same. She couldn't take her eyes off of the little twins. Oh, and they smelled so wonderful. Norik and Aunt Hermina came to see her once Violet was transferred to her room. Their reaction to the twins was similar to Ash and Mel's. Two Rev girls in a row, Aunt Hermina could not help but to whisper, but it was loud enough for the rest of the family to hear. I won't allow anyone to have any designs on my girl, Ash said protectively. Me neither, Norik added. I will make sure that the twins have a peaceful childhood, and Ash smiled to his brother-in-law. The twins started to cry with a soft newborn cry, and the two women started to tend to the children. How are you feeling? Ash asked Violet, sitting next to her. I'm cold, she said, but I am very happy, and she smiled to her husband and her brother, who stood next to her bed. Next morning, the whole family was at the hospital to see the twins and their mother. Why didn't you tell us? Amber was saying, as she held one of the twins, leaving the other for her husband. Hunter held the little baby, feeling very uncomfortable. He was not used to small children. Now, if it was a bear cub, that would be another story. Get used to it, his mother had ordered. You would have your turn to be a father in near future, I hope. By the time we found out, it was late to visit. She kept feeling sorry that she missed her cousin's delivery. We didn't want to spoil your wedding, Violet said. Oh, but this is the best present for our wedding. Believe me, Amber said, and Hunter nodded. Setrak, on the other hand, was skilled at holding babies, having 3 of his own. Come to Grandpa, he took the little boy from Hunter's hands. This is amazing. If not for the blue and pink hats, we could have a hard time knowing which one is which, he said. Look, this one opened his eyes, Norik said. The hint of light violet glistened through the little eyelids. Just you look at that, Mel exclaimed. They're yours, my dear Violet. Ash came close to see them. Oh, my little boy, he kissed his head that was covered with a blue hat. And the girl? Aunt Hermina said impatiently. It looks like bluish gray, said Norik. Like yours, Mom, Hunter said aloud. At the end, Amber and Hunter told Violet and Ash that the twins couldn't have come at a better time. The wedding went well, and they had a chance to see their nephew and niece before they drove to the airport to fly to Hawaii for their honeymoon.